Welcome to Loleventvods. Watch the full game of today's First Stand 2025 matchup.
I feel like they have really handled their drafts exceptionally, so we'll see about the changes that these two teams have made because, KC is one of the teams that has changed the most over the course of this tournament. The guy on screen right there, Yike, first couple of series were disastrous for him, but he has played so much better on specifically the Skarner, which they banned themselves this time, Maokai Sejuani, and Ivern. Those have been like the god-like junglers of this tournament. Jinja, of course, was exceptional on all of them. I mean, Jinja, might have possibly been the best performing jungler at the tournament for a large portion of it. So definitely a deserved Skarner ban there as well. And they also had kept their Zyra ban from last time.
They're also going to go ahead on the CFO side, ban out the Ezreal, which is one of the picks that they played against KC in the previous head-to-head. The Vi banned away by KC. I'm a pretty big Vi doubter these days. I'm with you. I think that the tankier picks in the jungle alongside the Ivern have really been the secret sauce for a lot of the success that we have seen. Worth noting, Rest is in the roster here for the first game, as he usually is here for CFO. He loves to go for the Cassante. We'll see if they want to just blind that here on blue or if they're going to wait a little bit for it.
Yeah, he's also had a really, really good Rumble game. He had the really good Jace game, so definitely some very versatile stuff. And there's one of the ones we just mentioned. He had that really good Rumble game, so they're going to slap that one back down. Let's take a look here at the answer from KC. Since they themselves banned the Vi out, already looking at other possible AD junglers to steal away. Since CFO started with the Rumble, you think that they're going to also look for AD jungles.
Yeah.
Definitely the other role taking a lot of hits here is the AD carry role. So Varus is still up, and there you go. Yeah, instantly, because the Kalista and Ezreal being banned, right down the priority list here.
Okay, we'll lock in the Varus for KC first and foremost, giving Kalista the power of that champion that's just often so contested, so powerful. You can get such a dominant lane if you end up wanting to draft for that. He's just got so much potential with everything that he can bring to the table. I'm curious, are they going to try to pick an early response here to the Rumble? Nope, they're not too worried about that. Instead, just want to go with a power pick of their own here in the Sejuani. Again, this is what you were talking about. Yep. This is the type of stuff that Yike has had his glow up on. I'd like to see this for KC.
Exactly. I think a lot of the KC fans will be very, very happy with this. He's had some of his best games. Even in the series they lost, his Sejuani game was definitely his best. So this is a classic though for Jinja as well. The Xin Zhao with Conqueror into a Sejuani definitely feels nice. It is that AD jungle that we were looking for. It is a fighter jungle. He is definitely the point man for so many of the skirmishes that CFO do try and go for early on. So Hongq definitely gonna have a lot of options for him open. So we have to wonder, are you gonna go AD carry here or drop it for the Azir? And they do drop it for the Azir. The reason I mention that is because the Azir has been incredibly high profile for him. He has performed so well on it, this 17-year-old on the international stage, and so they prioritize him getting the Azir and getting that comfort, and they're allowing Doggo to just soak some more AD carry bans and drop his pick to the second half.
And KC is going to respond to that Azir with the Yone picked up here for Vladdy. They want to make sure that that pool doesn't get pinched any further. If you're going to be going up against one of Hongq's core picks, you want to make sure that you're answering it with something you're confident in with how good this guy has been playing so far in the tournament.
Yeah, definitely agree. So we have to try and whittle down more on Doggo's champ pool here. Take away the misfortune. Keep on throwing them there. Meanwhile, the desynced role here for top lane. Do they want to throw more at Kana like carry answers into the Rumble? Yes, they do.
There is one right there.
Kana loves Mbessa, so that's definitely a good ban right there. Try and protect the rest Rumble a little bit.
Okay, I expect another AD carry ban here, honestly, from KC. Just really put the pressure on that pool. Try to punish CFO for leaving Doggo's pick this long.
The other thing that they want for CFO is like an engage for Kaiwing. So, I mean, Kaiwing has been very good on a lot of engaged supports, and there's so many left up that it almost would be like a drop in the bucket if you just fired off a random single bullet.
Like, all right, well, there's 5 more, so.
Yeah, Kaiwing is still going to get, you know, one of Alistar, Nautilus, Rel, you know, whatever.
Leona, all that stuff.
Whatever bottom lane they want to go with, but it's definitely going to need some more CC and structure from the bottom lane here, actually putting quite a lot of pressure on that pick. And so actually a good defensive ban there because they know Kaiwing's going to go a melee engage support, so you don't want to have to pay into a Renata alongside the Varus. That would just be such a painful lane.
So, okay, it's immediately going to be the Leona locked in for KC. That means that we are going to see the last pick of the draft there for Kana, for the counter pick for top lane.
Yeah. And a lot of times you're like, oh, do you want to pick Leona if Brom's still up? But you know that Kaiwing wants to play primary engage, not like a secondary like Brom or something, which doesn't have great initiation. So definitely a good pick there as well. All right, we're getting the Sivir.
Doggo on the Sivir, some hyper carry potential. Between this and the Azir, the damage scaling potential and team fighting power of what CFO has brought to the table in this first draft is very, very scary.
Yeah.
But their front line doesn't look particularly stable or strong. Xin Zhao is only durable while his ulti is up. Rumble is more of a fighter. He's not a direct meatball. I want to see if we can get some real tankiness here out of Kaiwing, and there it is. There's the Alistar.
Yeah, that's the Alistar I mentioned. He has been so good with Alistar. They have used it very frequently this tournament, almost at least once every single match that they've had. And it does serve a lot of roles. You know, Alistar is so versatile because you can be your initiation, but also some peel. The Sivir, the idea is that you can use the spell shield when you're facing all of this dive that is coming from KC, but also really helps to have a versatile bodyguard like Alistar that can potentially, you know, peel multiple, you know, divers that are coming your direction. And there we go. In the end, Flowers all comes back to the Jace for Kana.
Okay. That's
always comes back. It's good because it adds versatility. They've got dive options with Sejuani, Yone, Leona, and they have long range with both the Varus poke and the Jace poke possibilities for later on. But as you mentioned, the Shurima scalers with the Azir and the Sivir, definitely a lot of options here for CFO as we get into a best of 5. I'm so excited, super deep in this Fearless. I hope that we get a full 5 games.
Oh yeah, CFO, very strong showing against KC the first time around. KC absolutely leveling up so much since that first game against the Oysters. I wonder if they've got what it takes to go toe-to-toe with these guys who have honestly, I agree with Emily, this has been my favorite story of the tournament, is just how impressive CFO has played so far. Everybody just falling to the wrath of the Oysters, except for HLE, but HLE's not in the game right now. This is going to be a fun one. I really want to see where the action goes to in this game. I want to see if we have a lot of focus around the bottom lane. If you remember back to the first time that these two teams played each other a few days ago, there was a lot of focus on the bottom lane from Junja for CFO.
Yeah, and I just have to say, Junja has been so consistently good. Incredibly impressive in a tournament where the majority of junglers have not been consistent. I would say every other jungler has had bad games and definitely not been consistent. Junja constantly has delivered. That's why he really does run that region. Let's see about the level 1. Doesn't look to be too spicy here, though we did have a double sweeper start for KC, which I'm eyeballing. Yike himself also starting the sweeper.
All right, so as we start off with a mostly uneventful level 1, I got a couple of fun doggo facts for you, Kobe. Going back to the first series that these two teams had against one another, Doggo got first blood in both games. Big reason why is, of course, that Junja pressure we were talking about. But after getting first blood in those games, he would go on to not die a single time in the entire series. That is a big reason why that series felt as one-sided as it did, and I feel like Doggo has got to have a target on his back from the KC side. They know that this guy is a threat, they know that this guy is a problem, and they know they have to have better answers this time around.
100% Flowers. CFO put a lot of effort into getting a lot of money into Doggo, and he has made it worth their while. So here we go, trading early on already. He has also been very aggressive. I love the killer instinct on this guy. We have seen it many, many, many times. And the trading will be fairly heavy on bottom side, but both junglers are also starting on the bottom side of the map. So presumably heading on up for their full clears up towards the top matchup instead. And the jungles really is one of the highlights here as far as the matchups in this series. You know, we've talked at end on Junji. He has just been exceptional for them, and...
Wow, Targamas going in real far there. Immediately as he hits level 2, goes for the flash, Zenith Blade, but it's so close to the enemy turret that he can't keep going with the rest of that. So Doggo and Kaiwing still going to be fine. It does cost the cleanse from Doggo, but I honestly think they're happy with that trade.
Yeah. I think so. Let's see. Hex Flash out of the brush constantly, though, from Targamas. They'll still be able to put a lot of threat here. The Alistar Sivir, definitely not very strong super early on, so just trying to farm up. Farm is the name of the game for them. And as we have our junglers transitioning up through their full clears up to the top side, maybe we'll see a little bit of a skirmish over that top Scuttle Crab, but the trading does continue down here. Just the... Hex Flash here available, and the Ignite traded for Cleanse, so not too big ramifications for that early trade.
Exactly. You know, just the minor spells, and then it's not that big of a deal because of what you said about always hexing.
We got a ping for an early gank. So Jinja is going to skip a camp to go for the gank.
Okay. Yike is here too. Yike has a level advantage. Keep that in mind. Junja is going to arrive first into the lane, immediately uses the Audacious Charge back to the minion wave as soon as he sees Yike right behind him with that +1 on the levels.
Yeah, Yike doing the seamless full clear there, so he's going to have level priority plus top lane priority, should be able to get double Scuttle Crab. You would have to assume he can just take this top one, cross over down to bottom side. That way, not only does Yike... Wait a second. Not only does he get double scuttles, but he's going to relieve pressure on mid lane, plus get a mid lane flash, and relieve the pushing on bottom side as well. So huge jungle influence there simply by doing the speedy full clear for himself and matching on top side.
And that's a great start for Yike. That is so much better of a look than what we were seeing the first time these two teams played. We've already talked about how he started this tournament off very rough, lots of errors, plenty of mistakes, but he's really fixed it up so well. He's become a huge driver for the playmaking of KC throughout their wins, throughout their better looks in the second half of this event. And honestly, I feel like when he's on, he is such a playmaker.
Yeah, he really is. And remember, even their first series of the tournament versus TL, he did have a good game, and it was the middle game on Sejuani as well. So let's take a look at it, because he also has some nice shallow wards to work with. Tribrush on bottom side already warded up for KC. The Raptors already warded up for KC as well, and he's going to come for a lane gank here. Targamas is going to be the one to look for it, as waiting in the shadows. Both junglers here, though.
Yep, everybody's ready to party. Kaiwing flashing forward so he can get the headbutt back on Targamas, who already flashed earlier. Remember that. First blood, 3 out of 3 games to Doggo.
Junglers matching for the bot lane as well. Jinja's there trailing through the brush. Kaiwing again on his Alistar. He goes for the flash, he goes for the kill, and they get it into the hands, Flowers, of guess what? Doggo. Again, a first blood for Doggo has been the recipe for success.
Now, Rest could be in a little bit of danger here. Does have the minion wave coming up to block any future shock blast, but he is very low in terms of HP. Kind of going to tick level 6. Rest pretty close to getting his own ultimate marker there. Wants to stick around just a little bit longer. Does not want to give up all these minions if he can help it. Kind of just getting the wave shoved up all the way, as Rest should be able to burn most of these down, no problem. But yeah, Kaiwing on this Alistar. Let's talk a little bit more about this guy, because I feel like he has just set up so many plays for CFO throughout their run in this tournament so far. Let's take a look at how he does this one.
Yep, right into Targamas, because remember in the early trade, Targamas had used his flash, turned it into Hex Flash, and it's just a very good punish there, because you get the trailing gank from Junja, so even if junglers are matched, which they were, they get the initiation, they get the early kill, they punish the flashless Leona.
Now, speaking of that Leona, the Alistar, and both junglers now all hanging out in mid lane for the party. Kana going to rotate down here too, though. That's going to make it a 4v3, but Vladdy now has to snap back to the Soul Unbound as Doggo's ready to join up with the rest of the team. Yike and Targamas getting away. Boomerang Blade doing a good job, getting multiple hits there across multiple targets. So even though the fourth man arrived first for the side of KC, it was CFO with that killer instinct Void Grub stolen away, though, by an accelerated shock blast. Nice job to Kana on that one.
That is huge, because KC were going to get a turret plate on bottom side into the hands of Kalist as payment, but CFO don't even get all three, so they're not even going to get credit towards a Feats of Warfare objective there. And KC, yeah, they get their full turret plate here for Kalist. Plus, they have started the Dragon, although Junja is kind of rotating over.
Yeah, we'll see if they're able to finish this out
They
without
should.
having a whole lot of trouble. Yeah, Kalist is going to rotate up to it. That'll provide plenty of damage to get this finished before anybody on the other side can really make a meaningful punish. So nice sequence there for KC with the plate, Drake, and single grub for just the 2 grubs secured by CFO. Kana on the Jace doing a good job. Also, he's the only one on his team currently with a gold advantage over his lane counterpart, but it is the second highest individual gold advantage in the game.
Yeah, Kana on the Jace has been a repeated story. Definitely always turning in some lane CS advantages and some like little early gold leads. This time around, of course, he is going the Grasp Jace up there, so trying to stack that up in addition to the extra little bit of CS. But it is just going, once again, so well for CFO. This team, they're so coordinated, and they construct their game plans so effectively to have a very good 5-on-5 for later in the game. Always very coordinated in grouping up for these objectives. This time around, though, Kana did more than just get a CS lead in topside. You mentioned the steal away on the grub was actually quite significant.
Yeah.
And we will see if that actually poses a problem later on as far as stacking the Feats of Warfare or anything like that, but certainly is going to help out with the pushing towards power plate money.
Well, Yike was hanging around mid lane here, seeing if maybe there might have been an angle for something on the Honq, but he's fine, just sitting back, farming up, using the range and the safety of the Azir. Quick snap trades back and forth between the two in the mid lane. Both of them have such powerful explosive ultimates too. If they can get the help nearby, it could quickly turn bloody, but honestly, nobody's super interested in it right now.
Yeah, I mean, usually, yeah, the early stages, Azir going to look for the CS lead on the Yone, and then the Yone, about right now, you know, with ults and with people roaming through the lane, looks for some extra kill pressure to make that Azir more honest and make that Azir less aggressive towards him. But since Honq's got everything, he can continue to play fairly aggressively. Plus, really love that side control ward by mid lane. Allows him to know that he's got this area of safety up on the top side of the map where Junja is. Even though we've got a trailing gank here from Yike, this one at the moment doesn't seem like Rest is going to take any sort of baits, and I wouldn't think that he would overextend in this scenario.
Yeah, Junja is on this side of the map, but he is still very far away. Would not be able to get here in time if Rest randomly decided to walk up to the brush to try to flex on his opponent. So Rest will just continue farming safely. Nobody from either side really just completely trying to play aggressively at this point. Everybody's pretty good on just handshaking the early farming back and forth, waiting for a better opportunity to show up. There are summoner spells available everywhere as Vladdy goes aggro on Honq here in mid. Does have that Azir very, very low, but beautifully played by Honq. Vladdy forced to go right back to where he came from. The kill does not go through. Summoner spells still intact for both as they both go low HP.
Oof, yeah, ultimates traded. Nobody panics and blows their flash there, though. That would be the big win. It's actually a good timing for Honq. He gets a full Nashor's Tooth completion and can just teleport out to the bottom side. So the rotation here, get that Sivir into mid lane. Very comfortable farming for Doggo in the mid lane. Also allows your Alistar to go play with your Azir. This is another highlight of CFO's gameplay, how well Kaiwing links up with Junja on a lot of the aggressive Junja plays. So this second pack of grubs, they are going to be in position. Since the Azir used the teleport to bottom lane though, and Vladdy did not, it is Vladdy's teleport advantage. So the Yone gets to push on bottom and still gets to think about, hey, do we have a actual good setup here? Should I just split push and go for a turret plate myself, or do you want me to teleport up and actually fight it? Currently, the grubs are getting melted, but positioning for KC does look like they're going to use their teleport advantage. Oh, 2 health!
That he thought it had one more tick with the pet to bring it below the 900 threshold, but it ends up being 2 grubs over to the side of KC there. Grubs are going to settle on a 3-3 split.
And that timer there is them. They're for sure backing off CFO, that is, because of the teleport disadvantage that we talk about, but trying to just barely squeeze out the extra grub would have been quite big to get to the 4 so that you can get the extra Void Might spawning. Regardless, though, Vladdy on the bottom side, going to just try and clear out the extra wave.
Yep, that's all you got to do. Soul Unbound to guarantee that you don't get put in a spot where you can get 100 to 0'd, force the wave down. There's no way they can just sit underneath the turret, even if they want to try to combo you. So Vladdy knows the assignment. The assignment is keep the turret alive and keep these guys away.
So Flowers, remember back to the first pack of Void Grubs and the one that Kana stole with the Shock Blast.
Yep.
That is a very meaningful steal with the Void Grub, keeping them from getting to 4 for the extra Void Might. And this game is just incredibly close here in the opening stages. Now with the Dragon being the next target, Scuttle Crab here is step number 1, and since Targamas is here with Yike earlier, they're going to be able to claim the vision from Scuttle Crab. Plus they now get to use Vladdy's ulti, who by the way, finished the Blade of the Rune King here on Yone, which turns Yone into a completely different beast, much more aggressive. Wait, Rest does have his teleport, but yeah, I don't think they should use it. I think you should just cede this to KC. KC have much better positioning.
Seems that way. Vladdy in some danger though. Hongq going in, tries to step in front of the Fate Seal to make it so Vladdy can't get back away to the safety of the turret in time, but Vladdy can clear that gap. Junja throws out the wind, becomes lightning, but now he's in danger. Yike with a nice engage. Kana providing the follow-up damage, and Junja's in serious danger. Flashes over the wall to stay alive. KC comes out on top as they secure the objective.
Yeah, nicely done. The setup really nice here for KC. You can see the vision control all the way from mid lane down to bottom lane. Targa and Yike there very early on. Vladdy's teleport used on his power spike. Just, you check all the boxes going down, Flowers. This team looks completely different from the beginning of the tournament.
Way, way different and way, way better. Kana with that Spear of Shojin already fully completed. Tier stacked up halfway, working towards that Mana Mune as the next item. Rest still not with an item fully completed. Did want to stop off and go for those completed Tier 2 boots first. Give you the extra mobility to keep your opponent in Flame Spitter range alongside just the natural defensive power of the Steel Caps against an auto attacker like the Jace. But the turret plates have fallen, and it's only a 500 gold difference between the two teams. We are 14 minutes into the game, Kobe, and there is only 1 kill on the board. It has been such a quiet early game.
We're farming, baby.
We're farming.
We are farming.
We ain't doing nothing else.
Meanwhile, yeah, we're going to be farming for a bit more too, because it's a minute and a half until the Rift Herald does pop up. So going to be about mid lane priority first and foremost, as it always is in the mid game. You get mid lane push, that allows you to move into the side where the objective's going to spawn, and gaining vision over that little brush up on the left corner. Perfect little pan here from observers. That brush that Junja just walked through is my favorite brush in the entire game. You get vision on that brush. It just gives you such an advantage in the team fight if you actually want to contest around that Rift Herald. And so CFO, they immediately walk out very early there. Scryers plant into wards going down. So full kind of rotation actually from KC. They're dropping top lane at the moment to go for this play.
Yeah, they're going after Kaiwing, who just walks it off. Tons of damage from Doggo back into Targamas' health bar, who's now down below 50%. It's 45 seconds until the Herald spawns. If you look at the bottom lane, Rest has teleport. Kana does not and will not once that Herald spawns. So if CFO maintains control over this top side, they're going to be in a great spot to force that objective.
So even though that play didn't result in a kill, I want to highlight the timing and why they went for it. It's so good as Hongq now has to run for his life. Yeah, but it was really smart from KC because it's a cannon wave getting pushed into top lane. So they say, you know what? Let's drop the top little timer here and go for a pick. Because if we can get something big out of CFO before the Herald, then we'll get a large advantage, in that fight, and we won't lose too much on the top wave of top side. Ended up, they didn't get, anything really big out of it, but that's kind of like why you kind of go for that little window there. We'll see if the top lane tower actually ends up falling to that pressure though, because then the payment would be even bigger. And
right.
Since CFO didn't give up anything big in that KC attempt to find them in jungle, they're happy to start off this Herald, and they're actually going to burn through it fairly quickly, but KC move over to contest. Kana's recalling now, so Kana will not show up. All you can do is try and poke steal, and CFO, they're able to get another victory here in the form of the Rift Herald. Immediately used mid so they can hard push Flowers. They're gonna just destroy this, and Kalis might have to worry about a dive afterwards too.
It's a long-range drive straight into the mid lane. They're going to race Kana for the bottom lane turret, but nope, there it is. First turret already claimed in mid. The response from KC in the bottom.
Yike, Targamas, and Vladdy were threatening to close in behind them, but they do not. They call it off, and they're just going to actually trade the outer tower down on bot side for Kana. We go for a little drive here. Escort Shelly up to the top side, Flowers.
Nah, just run it into the ditch and hop out. They're having a good time. They're playing by Grand Theft Auto rules here. You don't need to park the car.
Rotate it over to the ward to kill that ward. Quicker.
There you go.
Min-maxing the vision game here, Kaiwing.
All right, so important to note, it is 35 seconds until the next Drake spawns, and the first two have both gone to KC. This would also not just be soul point, it would be a feat for them. Big deal on that one. Really would like to get that on the board too.
So Flowers, main thing about Sivir that you know very, very, very well. She scales incredibly well for AoE damage for these team fights. We've got 2-item power spike here. The Quick Blades was just finished for Doggo. So Doggo has accomplished the first goal here for Sivir. Get to 2-item power spike, and they want to use it.
Okay, Targamas is going to be the target here from Junja as he immediately pops the Crescent Guard to make sure the counterattack from KC isn't too much, as Kaiwing and Targamas both chunk down to about half here. KC's going to start up the Drake immediately themselves. Everybody from both sides here ready to square off. Got taking a little bit of damage there from the Electro Harpoons. Vladdy's going to be the one putting most of the work into the Drake. He knows he can do it pretty easily. Kaiwing and Targamas off to the side. Junja taking a lot of damage there as the Chains of Corruption don't really find a target. Targamas going to be in some trouble now as the Dragon is down to 3,000 HP. Vladdy thinking about maybe trying to make an entry into the fight somewhere. Goes over the wall there with the Fate Seal. Meanwhile, the fight up in the top half. The Infernal Drake is already secured by the side of KC. Doggo and the rest of CFO desperately trying to get something back because this has already gone KC's way so far. Rest of the wall thinking about trying to get somebody, but there's no way for him to find any of the health bars. KC's still on the run. They got Soul Point, they got the neutral objective feed, and they got everybody out.
They got everybody out. The towers can't run away, so CFO are at least going to make them pay with an outer tower's worth of gold. But that's number 3. This is a very quick 3-stack on Dragons for KC. They fight them off on kind of 2 fronts here. You see on the bottom side, Alistar setting up Targa for Junja to jump in on. And even though, you know, Vladdy and Yike use a lot here to peel for Targa and he flashes away, they're able to walk everybody out, even across the Rumble Ultimate here. Kalista and Vladdy can walk back to the tower, so everybody on KC low, but not low enough for anyone to actually fall. And Yike, all he needed is the Heartsteel, the tanky Sejuani, just walk away with the Scriver scratching his back. Tower's the only cost there for Dragon at number 3, which sets up for a very early soul in this game.
Yeah, this is now a problem for CFO for the rest of the game. KC loving the effort that they put into the Dragons in the early part of the game, paying those dividends now here in about 3.5 minutes. We'll see if CFO can stop it because, man, this type of a game state, especially with an Infernal Soul being the one at stake, it's so dire to give that away 23 minutes into a game.
Makes me very excited for the next like 5 to 7 minutes of this game because I still have my eyes on Doggo. Like, this Sivir is quite rich. The Sivir is on pace. I want to see if CFO are going to be able to bring the full might of Shurima into this game and put it on display. Because currently, the Otacon is just getting yoinked by KC in exchange for tower gold for CFO.
Yeah, CFO's saying, all right, you want Otacon? Take him. We're going to go for everything up here on the top side instead. Tier 2 turret has been destroyed. Otacon's still going down ever so slowly, but it doesn't matter how slowly. Nobody from CFO is even in this neighborhood. They will have about a 2,500 gold lead over their opponents, but KC now will see if they can manage to secure anything meaningful out of this Voracious Otacon buff.
They want more time on it.
Yeah. There we go. Okay, they're going to maximize their time. Voracious Otacon secured. They've got the false life ready to go now. This means I want to see them force some kind of a play.
Yeah, 100%, because the decision-making from CFO is very clear. They want to invest in the bank of Shurima, and they're like, you know what? We will give you a temporary buff of the Otacon GAs in payment for 2 towers on top side that we will invest into our Shurima scaling. And now it looks like they're going to claim some here from Kana.
Yep, Kana's in some trouble as Junja's just going to walk up to help rest. They'll knock this guy down. They'll get their 200 gold payday. That's the first false life removed. Technically not the second kill of the game. We're still at 1 kill, by the way. 21 minutes and 47 seconds into this game. As HoQ immediately throws out the defensive Emperor's Divide in response to Yike and Vladdy going for the dive there, trying to force that. Also worth noting, look at the inventory of the Emperor, not going for the full second completed item, wants to make sure that he stops off against the Seeker's arm guard first, just so he has that outplay potential.
Yeah, get that Seeker's use first, as you say. Try and get to your other power spike quicker. Honestly, I do really like the decision-making from CFO. They're sticking to their game plan here, and the farm is working.
Yep, they're farming up, my friend. It's a 1.2 thousand gold lead for both carry roles for the side of CFO, and it's still just Kana who has that lone individual gold lead for the KC side.
And it's not just a farming company, it's also like a turret destruction
company?
It's also a demolition company. You know, a lot of the gold...
Company does a lot of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of gold has come from towers as well, so... Let's see about this next dragon, because this is a soul flower, so this one will definitely result in at least 1 more kill. I promise you. I guarantee it.
Well, if CFO is a farming and demolition company, KC runs a lizard farm. And that lizard farm has been farming lots of lizards so far. And there's a big old lizard that's about to get born, and they need to make sure they farm it.
What's Vladdy going to buy right now? Vladdy's going back for a purchase before his teleport.
Yeah, has the TP, so should still be ready to go here. Doggo with a spell shield to block the piercing arrow. Okay. Shield bow, again, both mid laners going for these defensive style options to give them the extra ability to survive when they go in for these fights. False lives expire now on KC. The timer of the Otacon just desynced with this upcoming dragon battle, as now both sides are squaring off. Vladdy's already started up the Drake. Yone can clear this so fast just on his own with the Blade of the Ruined King. CFO has limited time to step up. Junja jumps over the wall. The dragon's still at about 4,000 HP. CFO make their way into the pit. Vladdy's going to be the target. HoQ goes for the shuffle, finds Vladdy, but a ton of damage onto Rest, and he's already down. KC taking the fight for now. Ton of damage back into HoQ. He's very low. The Drake slain by Yike and KC as Targamas tries to get away, and Yike goes after Doggo with a flashback over the wall. KC getting it done. Kana misses the accelerated shock blast, but he'll chase down Doggo. It's Infernal Soul plus 3 kills for KC. HoQ jumps right back towards Targamas, and he can't get the kill in time. Kaiwing won't clean it up. It'll be a clean ace plus a Dragon Soul for KC.
The Oysters will no longer fly in this game. KC bring them down to earth. They get the soul, and they chase down every last Oyster. Look at this fight, the full engage. Vladdy just flashes right back in after the Azir wall punched him back, and they got such an early lead in the collapse. Then, after he snaps back along with Yike, they focus down the dragon. They get their soul and allow the chase down. Kana there, going to be able to finish off Doggo, and as you know, even with the Azir turret going up here with the passive, every member of CFO put into the dirt. KC with a huge, huge play. And this moment, this whole game building to this moment, the critical one that just completely breaks the entire thing, the slow smile creeping across his face.
Oh, we're already back to live now. Hold on. Yike threw out the Glacial Prison there, but he doesn't find a whole lot with it. KC, they won themselves the soul. They won the feats of strength alongside it. I said it was a clean ace, I lied. The only thing they lost though was Vladdy. It's a massive trade, a massive swing in the favor of the LEC representative. And honestly, this game feels really good for them now.
It certainly does. That was a very big break point, a very big test. And you can see it even in the gold difference. The Bank of Shurima it's still a worthy investment, but this power spike in getting the soul plus all of the money of that last team fight, Kana is over 2,000 gold individually ahead now on this Jace. Just performing quite well for himself. So let's take a look. Can they transition it over to Baron control? Because that's how you really close a game like this. You need that Baron pushing power for this KC comp, and they're going to do just that right now. Go into the river first, take out the vision so you can look for some picks and make the Oysters walk to you.
Junja in some danger now as Targamas goes in, leading the charge for the rest of KC. They pop the enemy jungler, and with Junja down, now there's a ton of danger. Nice shuffle comes out from Hongyu, but it's not nice enough. He tries to jump back over the wall. Kaiwing and Rest keep fighting. Doggo's on the very edge of the fight. He can't do any damage. And KC taking the momentum they earned in the bottom half of the map and running with it.
That's going to be Baron for sure for KC. They get their picks. All CFO can do is just try and rotate and push out some minion waves. They ping towards mid tower, but that's too close. Kalist doesn't want to let him have anything.
Doggo does not want anything to do with these guys. Not anymore, not now. Just has to walk away from it as KC, now wearing purple, now up 3,000 gold.
Huge stuff here. And so moving in, they're actually not even fully committing. Yike was clearing the ward, so Junja thought, maybe I can finish this blue. And Junja just stuck around too long, fully punished. Targa and Vladdy right there, ensuring they get the pick. Right here, I thought for sure also Targamas was going to burn down, but does not. Chugging his potion with his W on. Leona too tanky, and Kalist here going to be able to have free farm in mid lane. They push mid, they rotate over to the top side, over to Vladdy where he's already pushing, and they can use this Baron buff in a 4-1 split push with Kana's teleport being ready.
All right, CFO's gonna try to keep defending. Kalist went fishing with the Chains of Corruption, didn't find much. Equalizer just forcing KC back. Yikes, so tanky, there's not any world where CFO can force an engage on him. And all of KC is just buying time for Kana, meanwhile in the mid lane, to take down the tier 2 turret. They're doing a great job with this split push pressure, as we'll see if they can continue just hard forcing now onto the tier 2 in top. CFO, they know that they can't afford to try to stand here and defend this outer turret, and they just have to back away as it falls.
Yep, goal accomplished there for KC. Quick destruction of 2 towers for themselves. Go back, spend that gold on your reset, and return to bottom lane where the last outer does stand. Nice chunk of change still left in that one, and really good job using their power spike on winning the Dragon Soul fight here to continue to snowball and keep the pressure on CFO. Just trap CFO inside their own base, make it hard for CFO to even get wards in their own jungle so they can't kind of set up any sort of comeback plays. Oftentimes you'll see teams that are kind of pinned down like this fully overload and just send everybody to one side of the map, try and catch you by surprise, you know, get a pick here and then turn around a comeback play. But KC have not allowed CFO to do that just yet.
Well, we had 1 kill and a 2,000 gold lead for CFO at about 23 minutes. Now hold on. Targamas is the target for CFO, but that's not really a great target. That almost never works. Junja's gonna be in some danger now too. Pressing guard, keeping him in a decent enough spot. Yike on the southern side of the fight as KC still feeling good, and Vladdy's coming in on the flank. Hongyu goes in, finds a shuffle on Kalist. They need backup to try to take him down. They gotta get something back, but CFO are just too far behind. Every effort is not enough. They're trying to exit stage right, but it doesn't matter. Vladdy's made his way into the fight. Beautiful headbutt coming out from Kaiwing to avoid the fate sealed. Now Vladdy again, just barely hanging on. The burn keeps ticking, but once more, I'll say it again, Kobe, it's just not enough. KC are far enough ahead now that they don't get punished.
Woo, that was so close for Vladdy. He was definitely squeezing right there. Let's see about the reset though, right back out, because Elder is on the table. Sivir can push mid fairly quickly, but it's definitely dangerous with nobody around. He's got teleport wards behind him too. At this point, the Oysters do have to worry about some of those flanks. Here we go on the setup though. Yike is here immediately.
Okay, we'll see how CFO wants to approach it. Kaiwing in some serious danger. He's just gonna die before anything else can happen, and now the same song's gonna get sung for Hongyu with 2 dead. That's it, fight's over before it starts, and KC's gonna pick up an Elder Drake.
Unless there's a miracle steal here from CFO or Junja or something, this has gotta be KC wrapping it up. Junja, Rest, and Doggo here. Do they have a miracle in them?
I don't know about water turning into wine on this one, Kobe. The only red in this water is about to be blood, and it'll be Oyster blood if they go anywhere near this thing. Kalist and Yike have all the damage they need to secure the objective. The remaining 3 players of KC can zone everybody else away, and CFO's chances have all but evaporated now as KC has the Elder ready to push for the win.
Nice chunk of change here. Last outer on bottom side, picked up as well. All right, let's push this Elder buff. You're on a timer again, and they are going to use it.
Here we go, tier 3 Turbident bottom. That's the first way into the enemy base. It's already cracked. First inhibitor is going to fall immediately right after. Kana and Kaiwing doing something in the jungle at the same time, but the real story is here in the base. As the inhibitor falls, Kalist, again, just throwing out these chains of corruption. He knows that they're so far ahead, it's not like they'll be able to immediately punish him if he doesn't have his ulti up. So instead, he just goes for these. He knows if he hits one, they probably just end the game right there. It doesn't hit, they'll walk it off, they reset, and then they'll be able to push another lane. They still have this Elder for the next 90 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. Poke Varus with an Elder buff on. Get to work. Just throw out every skill shot. See if you can fish around and hit something. For CFO, it is all about defense here. They have to turtle. They have to hope that they can continue to funnel more farm into the Shurima carries here. But the onslaught that KC are now bringing with this massive gold lead seems like it's going to be too much because they still retain so much control over the setup towards Baron. There's a couple of stray CFO wards here, but it's just so insanely dangerous to have to walk through these small corridors into this KC pick options that they have towards that Baron if you wanted to try and contest the Baron. So CFO faced with a very, very dire situation for themselves as KC can just wait for Baron to spawn, camp in the jungle, and then burn this thing down.
Yeah, at this point, CFO is just praying for a KC mistake.
They've still got 35 seconds on the Elder, so no chance there. They're going to clean it up, and CFO want to mount their defense at their towers, Flower.
Yep, that's the only way to really do it. You do, oh no, it might not even be that opportunity now as HongQ's got to try to get away. Has to throw out the shovel immediately as Targamas engages on him there. The 20 seconds left in the Elderman, any sort of follow-up would have been able to take the Azir down. Vladdy unafraid to jump forward here. Another Chains of Corruption flies out. This one wanted Doggo. Not going to find him. KC has 5 seconds left on the Elder. Next wave's not going to be here in time to use it.
I'd say Kaiwing just going to have to choose his moment and full send. Wait for the opening. Teleport back from Vladdy. Guardian Angel in inventory. Slowly but surely. I think next minion wave on mid lane that crashes, Kana's going to be able to do a lot of damage here. Looks like they rotate over, though. The waves are desynced, so CFO kind of look over. Still not going to be able to deal with Kana, though. The onslaught too powerful. 4,000 individual gold lead for him, by the way.
He is just completely head and shoulders above rest in this game. This Jace has really brought the firepower on this one. 6 KP out of the 9 that the team has total. And now with that mid lane inhibitor destroyed, with Junja down, barely hanging on. He gets caught by Yike, who jumps in with the second half of the flail, can't quite get the kill. Rest tries to defend, but it ain't gonna matter. Kalist already has the unstoppable streak here as they knock down the CFO top laner. 5v4 for KC as they're on the victory march. That first Nexus turret is about to fall. The second is all the same. Vladdy jumps in. HongQ survives the stasis with only a second, but Doggo will die in his place. HongQ falls next. And KC will be the first team that's not HLE to put a loss on CFO's record. They'll go up 1-0.